Now the time start afternoon session in the International Data Week first day. This session is one of the Sa-kwang topics relating to collaboration on data issues among Asia-Oceania region. So this is very broad topics, but a lot of writing talks by many countries and regions. I'm Masaki Kanao from Research Organization of Information Systems in Tokyo, Japan. And concomitants, Jonathan Kool here from Australian Antarctic Division, and also Wang there from China Academy of Sciences. So this session connected to the themes of the IDW listed here. There are 4 themes. And this session have the former 1 hour occupied by the writing talks by 6 presentators, followed by strategic discussions about 30 minutes. So the issues to be discussed, the information change in this session, like this, very vague, but focus on the types of scientific data can be shared under FAIR principles, and how can advanced technologies for creating and sharing data among us, Asian and Oceania regions. And a policy, which kind of policy alignment, and the challenges, practical challenges to increasing data sharing among our communities. So the speakers of the writing talk are these, and 3 from online, probably they can be attending. Okay, and the facilitated by myself first, then change to Juanle, and last discussion by Jonathan. Okay, so I move on to the first writing talk speaker. The first is by Jonathan Kool from Australian Antarctic Division. Okay, just one. Okay, please.
Thank you very much. It's very kind. I thought that I would set the stage a little bit by thinking about, well, what is it that we would want an open data network in the Asia-Oceania region to look like? And so, first of all, you probably want to sit and think about, well, why would we want to do this at all? It's going to take some effort, it's going to take some work, and so why would we want to put together a network like this? Well, first of all, we would be able to get better international publicity and uptake, particularly of research data, which will improve the overall influence and impact that researchers will have. Data synergy, often some of the really large problems that people are looking at, like climate change or some of the large environmental problems, you want to make sure that we are having less duplication, more coverage, and getting more power out of it. And part of that as well is that we all have limited resources. When we're working as part of either governments or research institutions, we don't have unlimited funding at our disposal, so we need to make the most of both the money and the people that we have. And also, new opportunities will arise from linking and undertaking joint research, because there will be some things that one party will have that another won't, but bringing the 2 together will unlock those new opportunities. But it is important with all of this to keep in mind there must be pathways to benefit. If we can't see a benefit to the collaboration, then it's all effort, no gain. But I do believe that there are many, many pathways to benefit. And so what are some of the things that I think that we would be looking for out of this network? We would be looking in particular for interoperability. You often hear about that as part of the FAIR principles. We want to make sure that people get credit, that there's attribution. Often people, the researchers are worried that all of the work that they do will get lost in the process. We want to make sure that they do have good attribution. We want to make sure that systems are secure and resilient to injury, and we do want to be able to respect private information. We're seeing increasing need for artificial intelligence and the scalability as part of that. And we would also want to think, as part of this partnership, are we talking about primarily working with governments? Are we talking about more research organizations? Both. And I would argue that it is both. What we're talking about here is publicly funded open data, and we're looking to make the most of that, that public data. In terms of technical feasibility, I've already heard today talking about the importance of standards and services, and this will help to provide that access across distributed collections. So you're looking at things like having collective search and portals, the ability to filter out information and get things that are highly relevant, and the ability to access it in a common way. Now, the traditional way of doing that has been through portals. However, we are starting to see increased use of things like cloud storage, in fact, also full record level aggregation using applications like Spark or Microsoft's Power BI, layering on top of it automated reasoning, and of course, people will be familiar with rapid developments in machine learning and generative AI. These are the sorts of things that we would be looking to facilitate as part of a collaborative network. Now, in terms of technical challenges, there are many. And one is that we do want to preserve information relevance. We will have different domains like climate science, like health, like law, like the environment. And so all of those will have domain-specific information. How do we allow people to traverse those collections while still maintain the interoperability? That is a challenge. Also, we have massive amounts of existing data that is out there already. How do we basically mark up these data collections in a way that is machine readable? And automation is the key. Another aspect is that it's always, or I shouldn't say, people often take for granted that, oh, well, we're sharing these in English. But in Asia and Oceania, English should not be taken as the default. There are plenty of languages. There's Japanese, there's Chinese, there's Bahasa, all of these things, and there are data sets that would really be a benefit for everybody. So we do need to think about language differences and how to accommodate them. So we would also want to think about, if we were going to have this sort of collaborative network, what would the organizational support model look like? We've already said it would take a lot of work and it would take a lot of coordination. So what would you have to do in order to facilitate that? I suspect that you would have some degree of resourcing and secretariat. I would argue that dedicated resourcing is important, because without that resourcing in place, you wouldn't be able to support the coordination on an ongoing basis, and it would become very easy to lose momentum. I also do think that you would need to formalize the agreement in some way, thinking about things like how would we be looking at licensing data? Would there be exemptions for things like protected species or private health information? Who would be able to make that agreement? If you're talking about a government agreement, that gets into the realm of treaties, which can be very difficult. Or if you say it's going to be a non-governmental agreement, well, who would have the authority to sign it? How are you going to actually do that? Having the data be in the public domain helps simplify things, but it doesn't address all of the problems. And in terms of technical, one thing that we might want to consider, do we want to have technical exchanges? We could have exchanges between countries to share expertise. How would we support that? We'd have to look into it. And also, in terms of organizational challenges, I already know that nations do have their own organizational structure. They have their own preferred technologies. So how do we bring them together to harmonize that? And there will also be differing relationships between research institutions and government. And there may not be a clear area with overarching authority. I can speak from the Australian example, where interest in data is scattered in many areas throughout the government. We don't have a single data czar, so how do you bring that together in order to try and make progress? And what we would also want to do is we would want to make sure that we can secure agreement in a timely manner, but also not leave participants behind. It's very easy to engage in large countries that might have better resources behind them, but we want to make sure that developing countries, ones with emerging technologies, emerging capabilities, that they are brought along for this journey as well. Resourcing, it is always going to be a challenge, and so it is important, regardless of what sector you're in, to emphasize tangible benefits and identify funding methods which will be sustainable over the long term. And so, in terms of some potential areas for action, or at least for consideration, we do want to think about, would this be a formal or an informal relationship, governmental, non-governmental? It's an area for discussion. But I think that regardless, you'd probably want to take a look at drafting some sort of agreement around an open data partnership and see how we can start bringing people to the table. And as part of that, identifying who the authorities are of acting as signatories to the agreement, particularly if you're talking about intergovernmental, international, then people will start to have interest in terms of, well, what is the relationship between the different nations? I would be sure to separate the framework agreement from the implementation so that we're not getting lost in the weeds in terms of the technologies, but getting that initial agreement that, yes, we do want to work together. Yes, we have the ability to work together. And these frameworks are out there to leverage. I was in this morning's session on the GORC, and so that's a framework that we could possibly leverage. And also, again, I want to reemphasize, really there is a need to ensure that the international coordination activities are properly resourced, and as part of that, do consider that there are going to be different levels of economic development and understanding how to support that accordingly. So just in closing, I think that there are many benefits in adopting a regionally coordinated approach. I hope that you would see those same benefits as well. There are new technologies that are emerging that can assist with getting consistency and easing delivery, but I think that the most significant challenge will come on the people side, especially getting those agreements and those resources. So that's what I would set out as some things to think about, and other speakers will bring other parts to the table, and I look forward to having a robust discussion with you later on in the session. Thank you.
We have many presenters and limited times. Noah, are you online? No? No? Okay, only Chantelle. Okay, so the next, I'll skip Noah and move to the last. The third presenter is Juanle Wang from China Academy of Sciences. Please.
Thank you for giving me the chance to exchange some open science data governance in regional level. Okay. So this slide is used by WDS. Yeah, we live in a data-rich world. Of course, we have mobile, we have so many sensor networks, yeah. But the real used scientific data is very, very, limited. For example, for the climate change, for the carbon dioxide concentration monitoring, only after 1950s. In the Monaco, in Hawaii Island, this station records this history used by IPCC. So useful data is so limited. And also, these data are, by reuse, by open, by accessible in the repository also is a challenge. Here we can see in the repository 3 data.org, this website, we can see in Europe and the US and even North America, they have so many repositories open for us. But in Asia, in Africa, in South America, some place so limited. So we have this bigger challenge here. This is the world data system regular member distribution, and also some networks, of course. There are totally 97 regular members with data center. But you see also is not balanced in the geography distribution. In West, much more. In East, South, global South, not so many, yeah. So for China community, in the world data system, there are 10 data centers in the mainland China. So 8 of them is in Beijing, but one is in Lanzhou, in west of China, and one is in Shenzhen, in South China, yeah. These data centers are distributed by their disciplinary distribution, yeah. They have the, earth science in the middle side level, earth science, and have the astronomy and the space science, and even the geology and ocean science. So this disciplinary sounds good, but they have the real connection. I mean, we need to go further. We have the new progress this year, this September. Just 1 month ago, we organized the World Data System Conference in Asia and Oceania area, and we established a work group in China supported by the Society of Geography Sciences. Yeah, this group can do more work in the near future. The mission of our group is push the international open science governance and collaboration and disciplinary fusion and scientific data center increase in WDS and other duties. Yeah. Here I can go very quickly about these 10 so I'm not sure go so quickly. Okay, maybe this, yes, is closed. Okay. So I'm not very much familiar with this plan, but we can see this one is for astronomy. Yeah, we have the LAMST and the FAST. The FAST is 500 meters. Yeah, very big facility. Yeah, to collect the Earth, the sky changes. Yeah, they record these records, and we have the renewable resource and the environment data center in Beijing. We have the some geography data, and we have the space science data also in Chinese Academy of Sciences. They also record the sun and earth system, their influence. And also we have the regional, arid regional and cold region science data center in Lanzhou. Here is a microbiology, microorganisms data center. They have a network in in Asia area and the world. They organize training workshop every year to make the data be collected together, and they have the ISO standard. And here is the global change data publishing and repository. They have the product data archive together, yeah. And also they push the geographical indicators food. Yeah, this is their new direction. And this is geophysics data center. They also have a network in China and Asia area. Here is the marine science. Marine science also records some like Argo, like other data for exchange internationally. And this is the geoscientific data center. They also establish a data paper for publish the geoscientific data records. Yeah, this is a journal. And here is a genomics data center in Shenzhen. It collects a larger number of life science data. Yeah. So some recommendations for this workshop. First one is the fruit of our WDS AO conference. Yeah, we want to continue our meeting mechanisms in Asia-Oceania regions, yeah, and developed more regular members of WDS in Asia-Oceania area, and enhance and develop the network as well, and enhance the cooperation with the ISC regional focal point of Asia and Pacific, and the future Earth, and develop new AI technologies for data governance for big model application, and also for young generations, the training, the data science, yeah, education, and also for the data governance, we hope we can try to do some, technology development for finance, for intelligence, for production, more products of our data, and the modeling, and the scenario-driven applications, because there are so many challenges in Asia, in Oceania, and even in Africa, in Pacific area. So how to make the data governance support like the climate change, like the sustainable development, like the resources security, even like the peace of the region, okay? That's my presentation, thank you. Okay.
Just one question. Okay, thank you, John.
Okay, thank you.
Next is by session. Sorry. Sa-kwang Song from KISTI, Korean Institute of Science Technology Information. Sa-kwang, please.
Thank you, Masaki. I'm Sa-kwang Song from South Korea. I'm working for Korea Institute of Science and Technology Information. This time I'm going to introduce our research data management system and the future plan. It's my honor to introduce our system to all of you. Actually, the Korean government has one strategy for research data management and open science. The stretched name is like strategies for sharing and utilizing research data. It has been published since 2018, and this strategy is focused on 4 kinds of element. The first one is modification of the original legal system and fostering human resources. In addition to these 2 topics, and also wants to make a new infrastructure for research data management and their ecosystems. And finally, the government want to fostering the research community at the same time. But KISTI, I'm working for, is focusing on data on platform. It means we are focusing on the making a new infrastructure and their ecosystem. So we made the so-called data on platform, which is a kind of aggregation services. And beneath of this system, there are many domain-specific research center and their platforms. So such as biology, materials, chemistry, geoscience, and so on. This hierarchical structure of research data management ecosystem in Korea. So our platform Data On has many connection with other domestic and international institutions or their platforms. We have more than 24 domestic repositories in Korea, and additionally we also have interconnected with other global platforms like OpenAir, EU, ARDC, Australia, IRDB in Japan, and so on. So we have more than 4.8 million of metadata, including 42K real raw data sets. In addition to that, okay. The key features of our system is like that. Actually, this data on is an aggregation system, so we gather metadata from the underlying many platforms or repositories. And also, we also provide data registration functions on top of data on. So the original data, raw data, can be uploaded to our system. And we also provide data submission and publication using the DOI functionality. And we also provide several kind of search functions as a basic functions, and then additionally, we were trying to make web-based data analysis environment, so-called data on canvas, which provide, Jupyter Lab or, cluster-based, some kind of functionalities and application development on top of data on. And we also provide workflow management and workflow creation environment, which helps the, basic users to make their own software workflow. And we also applied, provide community service and either hosting on top of data. And until now, we actually more focusing on the domestic environment, domestic community and domestic institutions or repositories. We wanted to support their system or governance and so on in terms of research data management. However, recently we started to provide our technology and experience to other countries, global environment. So this is the first collaboration with UNESCO and KISTI to develop strategies to promote global open science through research collaboration with UNESCO and KISTI in areas such as open data, open access, and open software. So using our own open science related capabilities like open access, so-called access on, data on, and software, open software facility like KRDC, we using our this kind of facility to help other countries in Asian and African countries. That's the goal of this project. So. And recently, we are more focusing on this kind of regulation. We are currently support the Ministry of ICT. We are supporting our government to make a new bill, a new regulation related to research data. So-called we call it Research Data Act. It's on the in the middle of the process of the regulation. But I believe that it will be soon authorized, at least next early year. That's my hope. And once we achieve this kind of authorization of this bill from the National Assembly in Korea, then our environment in research data or open science in Korea will be rapidly changing. Once this kind of bill and regulation is passed, then a lot of strategies and fundings and supports can be given from the government. So we are hoping this kind of regulation is passed from the National Assembly. In the future, we are currently support the government, and we are focusing on these topics maybe at the end of this year. And then we also trying to support the enhancements of global open science capacity using the UNESCO and KISTI collaboration project. And then we also want to expand the collaboration and interoperability with other platform or services in the world. I think that's the best time to do that, because we are just started, and we want to make our efforts and make our resources to contribute such kind of things. And then in the perspective of technology, we want to strengthen integration between data on with other national services in Korea. IRIS and NTIS is very famous in Korea, but it contains a lot of information about research, users and projects and topics and DMPs and so on. So we want to make it strong to connect with those kind of systems. And also we want to develop AI agent service inside of Dayton and other systems. Finally, we want to make a virtual research environment, VRE, which could be an extension of the current version of user analytic environment, so-called data on canvas or KRDC. That's our plan for the next year. Okay, thank you for your attention. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. So I think so many best practices that has been shared from China and also Korea, and it's also streamlined with the research activities. So my question is how the example, most of them are from STEM. So how about the response from humanities, social science researchers on this repository and facilities? And also, and maybe that's one question. Thank you.
Yeah, in most of the requirements, okay. Okay, most of the requirements from like STEM, like science-related topics. Yeah, that's the I think it's a lot like a limitation because our organization, the name of our organization says information about science and technology. So it's not easy to extend the topic or the range of the data. It's not easy in case of our institution, but we are trying to make it large. Whenever we have a chance to introduce our system to another community or systems or topics, we do not limit the data itself because data could be stored and shared through our platform. So whenever I went to or meet someone from other community, then I try to make them understand our system and what our system works and do. So as time goes on, I think we can extend such kind of coverage of data and coverage of users. That's my general intention about that.
And also, I just remember another question. So you have a research data act that is.
I cannot hear.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. So you have a research data act that is still in progress to be published, right? So in the technical part, how about the curations? Because it's streamlined. You have active raw data and also processed data. So how you manage the active data that is still in raw and then processed data that will be published because it's need to be curated and follow the regulations like GDPR, for example.
What do you mean by active data? And
for active raw data, some of the data are maybe sensitive data or need to be de-identified. And also for published data, because it is processed data for publications, some of the data maybe have some sensitive informations. Do you have curation in that between processed data?
Yeah, actually, we have not, differentiate between such kind of two types of data. But in terms of sensitive data, we are trying to follow the regulation of sensitive data. It has been authorized maybe 2 or 3 years ago in Korea. So we have to deal with such kind of sensitive or private data in our platform. So when we deal with such kind of data, we have to more focus on the security and anonymized and such kind of things. So, but in fact, frankly speaking, we still have a long way to go to deal with such kind of data. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So another question come to the discussion time. So here I change to chairman to Juanle.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and the Turrbal and Negara peoples of the land that we're meeting on today in Brisbane, Myanmar, and pay my respect to their elders past and present. My name is Reni from UCL Brain Indonesia. I'll discuss the complex landscape of RDM policy compliance from an Indonesian scholar's perspective as someone who has experienced both the opportunities and challenges of cross-border research collaborations. I'll share insights on how early career researchers can navigate this complex maze while maintaining research integrity. And a little about me, I call myself my own data champion because I wear 3 hats. I'm a data librarian and open science advocate and a researcher pursuing a doctoral degree in RDM and open science. So despite representing 60% of the world's population, the Asia-Oceania region accounts for only 1/3 of global open policies. This creates a significant challenge for researchers in our region, face diverse regulatory environments, from mandatory data deposit requirements in Indonesia, as an example, to sophisticated cross-border data transfer frameworks in countries with more matured RDM or data protection policies. So the questions becomes, how do we ensure equitable research practice across the diversity? Are we looking at data sharing from the right perspective? So let me illustrate with 4 personas. So Rachel from EU, conducting research in the UK, has clear established frameworks. Alex, a UK researcher in Europe, benefits from mutual data processing agreements. However, consider Rudy, an Indonesian researcher in the UK funded by Indonesia. He faces a critical challenge. Indonesia mandates data deposit but not sharing, which here as an optional, while the UK may require data sharing. Then there's Charlotte, an EU researcher working across multiple Asian countries, each with different data policies. So these scenarios highlight how policy harmonization isn't just academic, it's a practical necessity. And the barriers are multidimensional. Technically, we lack standardized metadata description across disciplines, including a gap between data availability claims and actual access. And politically, privacy regulations vary dramatically. While one country may emphasize organizational accountability, other countries may, in contrast, restrict genetic data export for national security. Socially, many researchers lack access to data stewards, and the infrastructure remains fragmented, creating silos rather than collaborative networks. And being an Indonesian ECR in the UK, I felt lost in cross-border rules until I tapped regional data communities like IDW, RDA, WDS, IFLA to see how others structure workflows, pick repositories, and solve consent at scale. And that showed me APEC's, Asia-Pacific's diversity is in chaos. Most systems are converging on stronger privacy and governance. So I borrow patterns while adapting to local policies, which I use the example from EU when they move from self-regulations to soft law and then hard law. The real unlock for me personally was planning fair from day one, naming the repositories, setting access tiers, and documenting sensitive data controls in my DMP, so sharing doesn't derail at publications. Finally, I learned to make consent and transfer boring practical, like standard clauses, clear rules, and predictable pathways for moving data legally, so every new collaboration starts compliant and stay fast. Well, that's how I personally deal with my RDM compliance when I do research across borders. So what if we all work in it together in the Asia-Oceania region, like EOS in EU or La Reverencia in Latin America? As Frederick Douglass said, power comes at nothing without demand. We must actively advocate and engage. And my recommendations are practical and actionable, and I'm aware that it has been repeated numerous times on many occasions. So of course, us researchers should actively engage with regional networks and seek training opportunities. Institutions need to develop robust cross-border data agreements and provide better support systems. Policymakers should work toward harmonized frameworks that respect local contexts while enabling collaboration. And most importantly, we need regional investment in shared infrastructure and capacity building to ensure no country is left behind. Well, I think that's all that I want to share. Thank you for your attention. You can reach me via LinkedIn or these emails for further discussion and potential collaboration. Thank you.
Any question or comments? Okay, if no, thank you. Okay. Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, it took me a little while to think about it. Often the traditional channels for international relationships are through sort of the foreign service, but I haven't seen yet the intersection of sort of the foreign service with I guess what you'd call the technical ability. So it'll be interesting to see what would you see would be the avenue for getting those technical specialists to craft those international policies that you're interested in, and where would you see them fitting within frameworks? It's a bit complicated, but it's just sort of how do you blend that technical expertise with the policy side? How do you make that work?
Yeah, I actually just observe with the many initiatives that have been happening around the world. But because I am research staff, supporting staff, so I am quite aware of the initiative on like crediting the people hidden behind the walls, like research management professionals. Because I'm from UK, so I quite aware about the initiatives that has been quite a lot been discussed, like Research Management Professionals Association, and then in UK as well there is a subject specialist as a contributor in the research proposal in UKRI. So there are so many initiatives that have been implemented in policies and regulation from the funders. So I think that's one way to support that avenue. And I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah, it did.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, now we move next. Okay. This is online presentation. Roy, are you there online? Nobody responds. Okay. Okay.
We're looking for Roy.
Roy?
Okay, so only Chantelle's online.
Oh. Okay, this presentation also online, yeah?
Are we getting ready to go? Yeah, you guys can hear me?
We can hear. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Chantelle, please start. I'll proceed the slide according to your suggestion.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, no, I was perfect. Now I can see them, so I know we're all good. But awesome. Okay, thank you so much. So hello from Canada. My name is Chantelle Verhey. I am a co-chair for the Arctic Data Committee, a research associate for the Geomatics and Cartographic Research Center at Carleton University, and the lead for the Polar Semantics and Data Interoperability work package at the World Data System International Technology Office. Next slide, please. So today I will give a brief overview over the work being done at the Arctic Data Committee specifically and how the polar community is tackling data sharing. So for those of you, yep, right slide, you're good. For those of you who have never engaged with the Arctic Data Committee or ADC, we are an international group under the International Arctic Scientific Committee and sustaining Arctic observing networks that aim to help data centers, organizations, and other data enthusiasts work towards the open science frameworks and other data challenges. We meet on a fairly regular basis, bi-monthly at the Polar to Global Hackathons, where we provide updates on ongoing tasks and initiatives, allow for other members of the community to bring forward challenges that they are facing, and work together as a group on problems of interest. In case any of you are interested, our next meeting is in November, they're all online, thankfully. So it might not be the best time zone, but we try to accommodate, and we'll be switching up time zones moving forward. And you can find a draft agenda and connection info on the ADC website. So as this is a lightning talk, I wanted to highlight a couple of the ongoing projects that the ADC is supporting that align with making data more discoverable and coordinated internationally. I do see the beginning slide. Hopefully, can we get to slide 3? I'm not sure if you guys
Sorry,
are seeing something
Chantelle.
different. That's all good.
So this Chantelle, we can't proceed the slide. Just we can see your video. Okay. We can see. Yeah.
Okay, so it's all good. You're on slide 3?
We just need to progress it. Give us a minute.
Which slide?
Okay.
This one.
Next one, please.
Next.
Supporting data.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Don't we love the hybrid formats, eh? Okay, so yeah, we're going over with the different tasks that ADC is supporting and aligning with to make data more discoverable and coordinated. So the first being mapping the polar data ecosystem, originally spearheaded by the Arctic Data Committee in Polder. I believe we're at about 8 years ago now, which seems like forever ago, but is now expanded by the Arctic Passion Project, which is just wrapping up, and it's working with data centers and organizations to try and map the complex polar data ecosystem. So you can see how complex it is from what we have been calling the spaghetti diagram up on the right-hand side of the screen. So the goal was to try and help identify who is providing data, where the data is, and who is it being shared with, if any. And ultimately, it would be it would help data aggregators reduce redundancy and help demystify the data landscape a little more for researchers, policymakers, decision makers in general, etc. So the second area of improvement that we are working on is the federated data initiatives, such as the Polar Data Search, Registry of Polar Observing Networks, and the Sa-kwang Data Portal, all working to help serve a different piece of the data ecosystem pop. So specifically, thank you for progressing, specifically to diving into the Polar Data Search and the Sa-kwang, which is sustaining Arctic Observing Networks data search a little deeper. Both are examples of different harvesting strategies, with the data portal being a host for data as well as providing a more traditional harvesting framework. And the second with the Polar Data Search, which is a grassroots initiative from the Polder Working Group, where we decided to utilize schema.org and controlled vocabularies to harmonize metadata standards and aggregate into a single metadata search portal for both Arctic and Antarctic data. So now, since it was built to be lightweight and portable, and I'm sure everybody in the room can sympathize that funding avenues are not always as concrete as we would like them to be. So hypothetically, the Polar Data Search portal can actually be picked up and dropped off to help share the maintenance burdens. So right now it's being hosted by the Arctic Institute of North America. In theory, we could pick it up and drop it off over at our friends' Australian Antarctic Data Center if they were so inclined at one point in the future. But currently, the Polar Data Search is up to 29 repositories from both Arctic and Antarctic sources, and is planning on some major functionality updates in the coming months, thanks to our hosts at ANA specifically. So we're hoping to help support the Antarctic side a little bit better, but right now we are also harvesting directly from data repositories, but we are aggregating the aggregators. So we are pulling from repositories such as Data One, or Arctic Data Centers, as well as DataSite, and harvesting those. So reducing the burden for repositories or organizations who might not have the technical capacity to implement a vocabulary on top of their metadata, such as scheme.org, and kind of try to find those back avenues to help reduce, again, the technical burden that's already out there right now. Next slide, please. Thank you. So finally, I would be remiss to not highlight the Indigenous data sovereignty considerations that are needed when working towards fair data in the Arctic. So the Arctic Data Committee is looking at how we can further support and leverage these frameworks in our existing projects, such as the Polar Data Search, the Sa-kwang Data Portal, Registry for Observing Polar Assets and Networks, and lots of other lovely things you can find out what we were doing on our website. So we're looking to learn from the experiences actually from all of you at IDW and bringing the poles to the global space and vice versa. We'll be discussing a little bit this more. I believe I'm getting my time zones right. It's Wednesday your time, Thursday my time later this week. So head over to that session if you're interested. And then next slide, please. Awesome. Yep. As it is lightning talk, tried to make it quick and snappy. But thank you so much for inviting me to the session. I'm looking forward to a productive conversation. And it's been great hearing from all the other presenters. And as always, if anybody's willing to or wanting to connect, please feel free to email me.
Okay, thank you. Actually, they also have a reference list. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, okay. Okay, please.
Hi, this is Claudia from Brazil, and I've been exposed to ocean data networks, but it was mostly concerning indigenous data and all of your programs along with ocean data. How does that interact with the Seon, or however you pronounce it, federated network?
Yeah, sorry, it was a little jumbly at first, so if I don't answer your question, feel free to call me out. But what I heard was that how are we kind of collaborating with the ocean community, because of course Arctic and Antarctic domains overlap with ocean data a lot. And I can speak to the polar data search specifically. All the technology that is used is actually built alongside the ODIS, so what is it, Ocean Data Information, or might be getting that acronym wrong. And actually we are incorporating a new depth facet search as well for the polar data search, because the ODIS community, specifically Doug Phils and Karen Stocks from Dakota, came to us and said, there is going to be some data that, might be getting pulled into something like the polar data search, and that's not getting picked up by them. So if we can have that extra element or use the controlled vocabulary in a better way to highlight, depth search, that they can also pull and hit the polar data search and vice versa, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you. What time now for you? I mean, it's the morning or night for you in Canada? Sorry, what time
Sorry?
for you now?
Oh, what time?
Yeah.
1:30 a.m.
In Australia? Oh, okay, good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next presentation, yeah? Okay. Masaki, our organizer of this session, yeah, he will give us sharing his opinion. Please.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. I'm talking about international conference relating to the collaboration Asia and Oceania region. Japan has hosted the International Program Office of World Data Systems since 2010. This is the launching ceremony in Tokyo at the time. So we have organized several World Data System and Core-Data related conferences. This is the first one at Kyoto, 2011. And sequence of conference combined with WDS and Core-Data has been done, focusing on any topics on polar region and terrestrial and geomagnetic researches and so on. And in 2019, we had a WDS Asia conference in Beijing, organized by Juanle, like that. So our organization, Royce, has strongly valuing to organize this series of conferences. So we named the DSWS, International Data Science Symposium or a workshop. So the last two, 2020 and 2023, that was joining with the World Data Systems and also Core-Data 2023. And both special issues of these conference has been published online as data science journals. So this is the one 2018 in Mishima near the southern part of Fuji Mountain at the time. So some of you have joined it. And at the Corona era, we had an online symposium So this special issue has been also published in data science journals. This is the last one 2 years ago, and held in the Science Council Japan, Tokyo, Roppongi, and many overseas participants attended and hybrid conference successfully done during the totally 4 days. So the special issues are already up on the website of the data science journals. 11 articles have been published, so you can see from this special collection website. So this session is a series of the collaboration in Asia-Oceania area, but this is probably starter by my side. That is the one session, Japan Open Science Summit, JOS 2023. The similar content has been discussed in these previous ones. This is the last slide. In terms of the polar region, Chantelle, and by myself, I'm also concurring staffs of the Polar Institute in Tokyo. So Arctic and Antarctic region, northern part of China and southern part of Australia, has also been connected to combine the data-related activities. So this kind of the community underneath the SCAR, Scientific Committee on Antarctic Research of this International Scientific Council, has been launched a few more than 2 decades ago. So in these categories of EHOPs, we have strongly to advancing the connectivity among the polar regions, including Asia area. That's all. Thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Any comments or questions? Yeah, please. You can introduce yourself.
It's not a question, it's just a comment. I'm Wang and I'm from Samoa in the Pacific Islands. So when it comes to Oceania, often mentioned in this kind of dialogues, it's only representing New Zealand and Australia. But we are very remote islands in the Pacific, and we are part of Oceania, the huge part of Oceania. We're scattered around the Pacific Ocean. And we do have a lot of efforts when it comes to data repositories. We do have Pacific Environment Data Portal, Pacific Data Hub. And some of these platforms are not really covered in most of the dialogues going on. And I'm hopeful that in the next, it will start the conversation.
Yes. This is session focused on Asia-Oceania, but broadly, of course, broadly includes our Pacific region and Ocean region as well. So no limitation. So yeah.
No worries. Yeah. Thank you.
This is the special name of this session.
Yeah.
I can give a little bit of a response to that as well. So part of what you're seeing is the history, but I have a background where I've worked fairly extensively in the Pacific, especially with SPC and the hydrography of the Pacific. So the intent, and in part of why we named it this way, is that no, it's not limited to just that mainland access. We do want to include the Pacific as a whole. So we're keen, and I think the key is now we'll get some of those examples in there of the partnerships. So this is us saying you're welcome as part of this.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Claudia from Brazil, and there's a call, okay? So you just have to keep alert to the calls to participate and submit, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay. So do we have next one?
Next one.
Pei-Shan? Okay. Please. Okay.
Good afternoon, I'm Pei-Shan Liao. I'm sorry I'm late because I was presenting in another session next door. So today I would like to talk about sharing social science data, the importance and challenges based on our experience in Taiwan. But at first I would like to let you know the importance of social science data. Social science research investigates human behavior, social structures, and cultural dynamics, analyzing interactions, values, and behavior models across different contexts. It also examines organizational structures, power relations, communications, and decision-making to understand internal operation and broader social impacts. So by utilizing diverse data, social science research generates insights into human behavior and societal development, providing critical knowledge to inform policy making. We all know that data sharing advances scientific progress by enabling the replication of previous analysis and maximizing the return on investment in data collection. So sharing social science data encourages interdisciplinary research and problem solving by offering opportunities for understanding human societies from various aspects. So it's important to access social science data because it helps policymakers to develop evidence-based policies, address societal challenges, and foster growth in one society. It also encourages transparency and collaborative research efforts, and enhances the credibility of findings within the scientific community. But we encounter several barriers to sharing social science data. Social science data often involve human subjects, so there are some information that is considered very sensitive to some, but may not be sensitive to others. The sharing of social science research data is a complex task, given concern about participant protection, legal issues, and the diverse forms of data. Data availability was low in the field of social sciences when compared to other scientific disciplines. The main reason of declining data sharing include loss of data and concern for privacy or legal issues. Social science data often include identifying information at individual or organizational level. Protection of the confidentiality and safety of research participants have been a major concern among social scientists. Other concerns include loss of publication priority, perceived effort versus benefits, and potential data misuse. There are emerging challenges in sharing social science data. First, the sustainability of funding and resources is the key challenge. Long-term operation requires not only technology, but also administrative support and stable, continuous funding. The second one is insufficient metadata. It's still a major issue. About half of the key fields in the data sets in our data archive are missing because of the language barriers. It significantly reduces the query coverage and limits the usability of data. Third one is the limited willingness and incentive for data sharing, because many researchers treat data as their capital, so they don't want to share with others. Finally, there are important risk considerations for sensitive data. Although we can divide data, or we can have different access rules for data with different sensitivity levels. Excuse me. But still, it takes a lot of effort to decide the sensitivity level of the data. These issues highlight the need for sustainable resources, richer metadata, stronger incentives for sharing, and careful management of sensitive data. Toward a sustainable social science data sharing, there are many things to do. Despite ongoing barriers to data sharing in the social sciences, archives and repositories have actively supported researchers through technological advancement and open science initiatives. However, we still need sorry. We still need sustainable. We still need long-term support in terms of financial and resources for the sustainable data infrastructures to ensure long-term data stewardship. Data management and sharing practices vary widely across regions. In Asia, sharing social science data is not yet a well-established norm, and resources for data stewardship are limited. To address this, it is important to promote future development among data archives. Additionally, open data policies are crucial to support evidence-based policymaking. And finally, collaborations among government, data archives, and researchers is needed to foster open dialogue, share experiences and ideas, and stimulate future development. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or suggestions?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Bonnie Wolf-Bünsch. I represent the European Social Science Data Archive infrastructure. My question to you is, obviously, as I've seen from the bullet points, there is, of course, the long-term funding, which is always a problem. But what is the major hurdle? Is it the culture? Or is it because the complexity of the data? Or beside the money, what is the major hurdle to share among the Asian countries?
The major barriers or challenges for sharing social science data in Asia, I would say, is the unwillingness. Well, because most of the social scientists want to have the opportunity to use their data on their own, so they want to publish the publish articles of research thesis with their own data. And I think that even though many researchers get funding from, for example, National Science Council to conduct their surveys, for example, but they don't see this as a public good. They just want to keep the data, and they make their own use, and maybe for their students, for their future students, current students, so they can accumulate research output based on their own data, but they are not thinking this can be available to other researchers. And so in Taiwan, I am affiliated with a survey research data archive that we are one of the large social science data archive in Asia. And so we curate survey data, and we promote the sharing of social data, especially survey data. But still, some researchers are willing to deposit data, but they are not willing to share their data. So there is a way to go. So I'm not sure if maybe it's a cultural thing, because as I know from the social science data archive in Korea and Asia, in Korea and Japan, or other archives in East Asia, they are facing the same issues. So I think we have got a long way to go for the open science, for open data. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, please.
Thank you. So I'm Matt Mayernick from the U.S. National Center for Atmospheric Research. You mentioned privacy and consent are very important for sharing social science data. Are you aware of any work to change or adjust the consent process to inform participants about potential data sharing, to sort of give people the option to share data as part of the consent process. Is that anything that's happening?
Yes, thank you for the question. We do work on it because the IRB approval has been required for social science research in Taiwan. So although the guidelines for making a for what is included in a consent form is different from IRB to IRBs, but for example, in my institute, we I cannot say always, but we encourage researchers to say that if they are depositing their data in maybe a repository or a data archive after they maybe they identify the very personal informations, so they can deposit or share their data with other researchers or data archives. That's one thing we would do in our IRB in the consent form. So, but in fact, is also one of the reasons that some social scientists don't want to share their data because they didn't indicate sharing data in their consent form. So we are trying to provide like examples like how you can say in your consent form indicating that you will be sharing your data after your project is finished, but the data can be used again for a public good, and your personal information will be identified, things like that. So we're working on it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Pei-Shan. Okay. Do you have more?
No.
No more, okay.
Thank you.
All right. It falls to me to facilitate the structured discussion as well. And so Masaki has kindly put together some bullet points, and I'll let people ruminate on it a little bit, but in the meantime, I thought that I could take the liberty of giving a little bit of a summary, because we did hear from Juanle and also from Sa-kwang about their national capabilities in China and Korea. And following on that, Madiareni did talk about the different policies and the need for harmonization of those different policies. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to Pei-Shan because despite Madiareni talking about the need for interoperability, Pei-Shan was also talking a little about domain specificity. And I think I had talked about the tension before about how do you have these blanket uniform policies that also respect the domain specificity of different areas, especially in areas with social science where you have that sensitive information. Chantelle, she did also talk to us about some of the technologies that could help with sharing, in her case, like mapping the polar data ecosystem and also federated polar data search. Masaki, he did show us that there has been a lot of engagement in this space that we can build on as well. And I will say that one thing that we can take away is that information does have value. It's powerful. So we should aim to share it, but there will also be interests, sometimes from researchers, sometimes from government, in trying to restrict it. So how do we navigate that space? So at this point, I'll take a little bit of a breath. You have many different experts up at the front of the room. So in terms of discussion, we have those points from the floor. I'm opening it up. Does anybody have things that they would like to ask? Yes, at the back.
Thank you. I hope I don't have a loaded question. So I guess the big question I have around research data infrastructure and bringing everyone together on, say, like one platform, let's say, if that was the goal. Do you see that there's a way to actually separate interests? Like with social science research, for example, you need consent, you need human subjective consent. The projects are funded by intersubjective entities or projects with objectives. However, the actual infrastructure, like surveys and creating inference from the responses and actually formulating it all and doing the science is not unique. It's interoperable. So to what extent are you looking at this like a computational program, separating the hardware from the actual software, separating the subjective entities from the intersubjective and the objective outcomes? Because surely that's the only way you could actually have an ongoing, non-ephemeral cohort of institutions to fund it. Because each institution will have ephemeral objectives. They'll change over time. Each project, each research program will have different outcomes. Everything is biased. And data only records where the arrow hit. But at the moment, we've got technologies which are creating signals and inferences to where the arrow will be directed. So data is going to be even more powerful, even more laden with potent intersubjective meanings. So is there a question there? Yeah.
I think that I might be able to take that. I'll wait for the microphone. Well, here, I'll stand up so that I can use this one. That's a good question and one that I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about, which is why I wanted to kind of go at that. And you also talked about a computational approach. I come from an object-oriented background, and I think a lot about abstraction and implementation, where you get to the details, but you can have some general principles as well. So I think that what we are looking for are common patterns, those commonalities, and then you can branch out underneath them. So I think that there is a way forward there to take a look at the patterns and then branch off into the different areas. So, and that's what I'm thinking about in the meantime. Is it possible? Yes, I actually think that it is possible to have your cake and eat it too by having the general patterns and then elaborating on them.
I'm not sure my question is as relevant as it was before that one was asked. But thanks to the speakers, maybe I'll go back to the question I wanted to ask the gentleman from Korea, which was about how long data on has been around and whether you have enough history yet to be able to say something about the impact on research productivity either within the fields or even in interdisciplinary research productivity.
Thank you for your very good question about actually first I'll talk about the history of data on. Data on has been published and opened since 2020, so almost 5 years away. And we have been supporting several kind of domain-specific institution in Korea. So actually, I thought that we have many experiences to support such kind of different disciples to gather and distribute and support in their requirement. But until now, it's not easy to make our data and our community or our facility to support, interdisciplinary collaboration. I think it's very hot topic in everywhere, but it's not easy to find a very practical or actual application for that kind of purpose. My thought is that we still need much more time to support such kind of collaboration, because in Korea we have more than 10 years of history to make this kind of platform and support many disciplines to gather their own research data. But it's not a long history, because every institution or science domain has their own tradition and culture, but it's not easy to change all of them in a short time. But we are still, and we have been, persuade them to gather their own data and publish in a certain technical ways. And that, in order to do that, we support our capabilities in a technical way or in a certain kind of strategic ways to support their openness and collaborate with other peoples in Korea. But I found that still we need much more time to do that. It's not easy to collaborate between such kind of different disciples and different institutions in Korea. But recently I found that at least the platform, I mean the research data management in Korea, there are several kind of domain-specific platform, but they are trying to make connection with other institutions, even in different disciplines. So we hope that, and I think they make it possible. I think it's another very important way to make it possible and make it possible is that the government strategy is very important. That's why we are currently focusing on the making support to the government to make a new research data the bills. That's my answer. Okay, thank you.
Just a couple of things very quickly. I think that ultimately when you get into international data, you will run into the government at some point, and there are tremendous opportunities. There are risks and things that you have to try and navigate through, but there are also tremendous opportunities. Also, very quickly, I've been paying attention to KISTI and data on for a while, so you may not realize, but in the Australian context, we've actually been paying attention to what you've been doing, using it as a model, so you have some soft influence there, whether you knew it or not, people paying attention and trying to get some interoperability.
Yes, KISTI has been focused on this kind of collaboration with domestic as well as international corporations. So in the perspective of technology, we have been developing in two kinds of platform or systems. The first one is data on repositories, which we want to support the collaboration with the domestic or international users by this kind of repository software, which is based on standard standards like there are metadata standard, the system standard, and there are various kinds of open source technologies are used for that kind of repository software. And additionally, we also focusing on an open source sharing platform, so-called Korea Research Data Commons, because we want to support or we want to share the computing facility in addition to the data itself, because once we collect or manage our research data on a certain repository or services, then they or their users wants to make it possible and make it usable to users, to the the stakeholders. So we want to make such kind of requirements be realistic. So we made our platform to be available in other domestic institutions or other countries. That's the name of the Korea Research Data Commons. That's the two kinds of technological step or approaches to support this kind of collaborations between domestic or international conference. Okay.
We've got two questions at the back. You can.
Hi, thank you. I forgot to introduce myself before. My name is Claudia. I'm from Brazil. And I was listening to your presentations and also looking at the questions. And I'm thinking of our situation in South America, in which it's really very hard to maintain or even to create a sustainable data sharing interoperable platform due to lack of policies, but not so much so as due for lack of sustained financing. So the question would be, would there be a possibility in the medium-term horizon for the Oceania, Asia region to establish something like the European Union to maintain and sustain a bigger cooperation? Because in Europe it's much easier with financing from the European Union. And like unifying policies. It's not that it's easy, but it's easier.
Thank you, Claudia, for your questions. Yeah, actually, I'm quite observing how the EU is really supporting via EOS Observatory, for example. They have like so many countries representing EU, and they have like country profiles, how the open access progress in each country. And echoing with your question on research productivity as well, because it record the grants and also the output, the outcomes of the research. It's also engaging our researchers to aware more about open science, and then they can connect their research activities to support the open science as another impact. So I think for Asia-Oceania network, it's gonna be a bigger effort to collaborate together. But for me, from Indonesia, ASEAN, there is another effort that has been initiated by Ms. Noorsaadah, one of the speakers here as well, but not joining today. She proposed a proposal on APEC, Open Science Consortium, something, but it's still in progress, but it's still in APEC or ASEAN scope. So I don't know about the update yet. But yeah, let's see with our discussion, is there any outputs for the future outcome? Thank you.
Just add one more comment, Claudia. I think maybe a mechanism for global south, to enhance their data governance capacity, network, repositories. So something from maybe UNESCO, maybe WDS, IC, we build some mechanisms in global south. That's very important. Thank you.
There are a number of groups that we can tap into. APEC would be another one, at least for the Pacific SPC, I think would probably be interested in it as well. So there wouldn't be something quite on the notion, quite on the, along the same lines as EU, but I think that there are regional groups that would be in a position to take an interest, but there would need to be some legwork into convincing them of the value. I think that that's probably work that we can do to demonstrate not only the willingness, but the value, and also set up a bit of a blueprint.
Thank you. So again, I'm Matt Marinick from the United States National Center for Atmospheric Research. I'll also say that I'm the editor-in-chief of the CODATA Data Science Journal, which published the special issue that Masaki mentioned. I'd like to thank Masaki and Juanle and Jonathan, everyone involved for the special issue. It was a lot of work, and I think it turned out really well. So if you haven't looked at that, I really do encourage you to do that. My question for all of you is, you mentioned, Jonathan, in one of your comments in the discussion that to do international collaboration, you also need to have alignment inside of a nation and working with the governments and collaborators inside of a nation. So I guess I'm curious to hear from all of you, do you find challenges in building these international collaborations going from nation to nation, or as much inside your own nation? Like how is either one easier or harder, or are both of them challenges?
In terms of the international collaboration opportunity, from the start of the WDS IPO in Tokyo, we have organized joint with China biannually, so to continue the discussion and information exchange, and among that we can talk about technical issue and aspect, and data publishing, community building, and so continuous working movement could be efficient for in the another 1 decade future.
I'll make mine very brief. At least from within the Australian context, I think that I've had good ability to work internationally. Domestically, it's more of a case of data responsibilities being scattered. And what I will say is that I think that there's going to be a growing need for data diplomacy. And you see things like GDPR, you see things like these issues creeping up where data is going international, it does not respect the borders. And so I think you will actually need to build up that capability as a full channel of foreign relations.
I think this is a good question, like the journal. Sometimes we have our local domestic journal. Sometimes we have the international Web of Science journal. I think similar. So sometimes a data center can be, organized in the local, in the maybe some funding from the domestic, it's this stage. But as we know, the high influence journal is the international journal. So a data center or data governance, cross boundary is so important. Thank you.
We could probably go on for all afternoon, but this is time. So I just want to thank all of our speakers. Please give them a round of applause. And thank you for attending. Please continue to engage. We're looking forward to involving all of you. Thank you for your time.